Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and I am your upline's worst nightmare. Why? Because I was in the multi-level marketing industry for 5 years. I was gaslit, I was lied to, I was manipulated, and now I'm here so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Let's get started. Hello, hi, how was your week? How was my week? I got to spend the week in Tennessee with my best friend in the entire world. I consider her my soulmate. I could not live without her. If you guys do not follow me on social media, we are relocating to Tennessee. We were able to secure a house and I was able to accept a job offer and all of the good things. We will be relocating to Tennessee come the middle of May. I cannot wait to be a Tennessean again. I have missed it ever since the second I moved away, and it is going to be the best. I cannot freaking wait. In the meantime, I am stuck here in southern Georgia, sweating my absolute boobies off, wishing that 45 days would go a lot faster. But in the meantime, we have tons of content to offer you. This was sent to me by one of my subscribers. It is an Amway tell-all, essentially. That was a very good stretch. It's called The Truth About Amway and Worldwide Dream Builders. So Dream Builders is essentially one of their biggest teams that they have in Amway, just based off the information in this video, which happens a lot within multi-level marketing companies. Is once a team goes mostly all the way to the top of the compensation plan, they become almost their own MLM, and they are kind of just umbrellaed under the actual MLM. So they'll have their own trainings, they'll have their own team page, all that stuff, and it becomes its own cult within itself, in my opinion. We're gonna watch this video. I do have it at 1.25 speed just because I want to be able to watch it in its entirety. I feel like it's important to get her entire story, and I will link her YouTube channel below so you guys can go check it out. She has other videos on there. She is amazing. She has great insight, and I just want to make sure other people are able to see her content. But before we get to that, as a reminder, I am not a doctor. I am not a lawyer. I am not an airplane mechanic. Therefore, everything and anything in my video is opinion and opinion only. If it is a fact, I will cite the information below and I will make it known. I do feel like I have a semi-informed opinion because I was in the multi-level marketing space for so long. I feel like I can see red flags and manipulation and the cult-like tactics before anyone else. That's why I have this channel. So welcome. We do have cats laying around. Oh, you can't see him. You literally can't see him. He is laying perfectly right here, but Ash is back there. Can you guys see? Oh yes, there he is. So we do have kitties laying around. They are enjoying themselves. They are taking their afternoon naps, and hopefully they will stay right where they belong. And we will watch this video.
I'm sorry for the horrendous lighting. This is a video that I've been putting off making for a really long time just because it's such a heavy, crazy, and multi-layered deep one to get into. As a lot of you probably already know, I used to be part of an MLM, and it was the biggest, nastiest, meanest, biggest, baddest of them all. I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about, and if you don't, it's called Amway, but more importantly, we're going to be talking about the real culprit behind all the trauma and all the issues, which is one of Amway's sister companies, Worldwide Group, or Worldwide Dream Builders. So I'm just going to start from the very beginning because I've tried to script this video so many times and there's just so much to it. I just need to just throw it all up for you. Little me has just graduated high school. I know I don't want to go to college. My entire life, ever since I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to be a big singer-songwriter ever since I figured out that that was a talent that I had, but I never thought that it was something tangible or possible or feasible. I'm so young, the field is so saturated, there's so many people who are bigger and badder than me, they're more talented, they've been at it for longer. Everyone wants to be a rock star because no one wants to work a 9 to 5. I should probably start looking at more realistic options. And I'm trying to discover myself spiritually again after this whole scenario with an ex-boyfriend that I never recovered from. So I started working at this local metaphysical crystal shop. One day, this girl comes in who ended up becoming one of my best friends later. Her name is Sam. Shout out to you, Sam, if you're watching this. Oh, subscribe to her on YouTube. I'll list her channel. She does like travel vlogs and she's so cute. We ended up really hitting it off at the crystal shop. We ended up exchanging numbers and just talking more. One day I was talking to her about how I just don't know what I want to do with my life and how I felt like I was losing myself. She was like, I'm friends with this couple who helps me with my finances. I don't know if that's something you're interested in. And I was like, oh my god, I suck with money. Sign me up. Next thing you know, she's calling me back a couple days later telling me that she put in a good word for me. They don't charge anybody to help them with their finances. They just want to do it out of the kindness of their heart. And so because of that, they're really picky about who they help. Samantha invites me to a coffee shop because she had some questions that apparently the couple was asking about me and they wanted to know a little bit more about me. And she started asking me some questions like, are you a free thinker? Are you easily influenced by other people's opinions? And then at some point she asked me, have you ever heard of the term network marketing? She basically described it to me as if you go to Starbucks, you get a caramel macchiato, you're just sipping it at work, and your coworker says, ooh, that drink looks really good. What is that? Where did you get it? And you're like, oh, it's a caramel macchiato from Starbucks. You just network marketed for Starbucks. That was the analogy that was used. At the end of this meeting, she hands me a book called Who Moved My Cheese? This was a book that I actually already had read in high school in financial literacy class. When she showed me this book, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that book. It's one of my favorites. And she was like, that's great. They want you to read it again, and then you can tell us about your takeaways. There was a series.
First things first, she is an amazing storyteller. I know she said that she had scripted this a couple of times and just couldn't get it together, but I am very impressed with how well she tells her story and kind of takes us on this journey with her. Props for that. I don't think I could ever be that good. If someone is asking to meet you for coffee or meet you in a public space or they want to get to know you better, it's probably not a legitimate opportunity. They are most definitely in a multi-level marketing company or some sort of network marketing space. And I say network marketing space because unfortunately we are seeing this uprise in master resale rights, which is people selling courses to other people selling courses to other people selling courses. And there is a whole trail of individuals and influencers who are starting to get into this, and it is a complete nightmare. So unfortunately, we have to rope the master resale rights group in with multi-level marketing because it is just so scammy. Make sure you're doing your due diligence. Make sure you're asking questions before you meet these people. Unlike her story, she's just looking for financial advice. Most people are being told that this is a legitimate job opportunity. So if somebody is asking to meet you somewhere in a public space and it's just kind of a meet and greet for a job opportunity, it's not going to be a legit job opportunity. You're not going to meet in a public space like a coffee shop. You're going to go to a legitimate business, usually the business you're going to be working at, or you're going to go to some sort of employment office or recruiting office in order to conduct an interview. First red flag, meeting in a public space, meeting for coffee to just talk, it's probably going to be a network marketing gig.
With meetings like this. And then finally, she was like, sweet, you get to meet them now. They're doing a meeting. There's going to be a lot of people like you who are learning for the first time and a lot of people like me who are already being helped by them, but they're just going to hear the information again just because repetition helps you, ingrain things. We go to this office building and there was this really charming, confident speaker at the front of the room. And he was like, you're not going to understand any of this information I'm about to give you that's about to change your life unless you understand the mindset behind it. But only cool people are going to get the mindset. If you're not getting the mindset, this isn't for you, that's fine. If you don't want to give yourself and your family a bright future, but this is the cool kids club, was basically the impression he was giving. It almost gives you this sense of like, I want to be like him and I want to be good enough to be noticed by him because that means something about me. That means that I'm cool too. There's even like a big fancy introduction from someone else before you hear from that speaker, just talking up about how cool the speaker is going to be and how you should be honored to be in his presence and how this is exclusive proprietary information that he's about to give you that 99% of the world will never get to hear. Whoever invited you into the room thought so highly of you that you got to be here that night. So this guy rambles on for like 2 hours about not having a quitter mentality and thinking like an entrepreneur. He basically hypes you up.
Did she say 2 hours? Bro. 2 hours is wild. I cannot believe that. I was roped into MLMs through social media, so I'm always completely enamored by these stories where they are roped into multi-level marketing companies in person. My social anxiety could never. It's wild that this is happening like out in the real world, in real life, and it just blows my freaking mind. But 2 freaking hours? Could you imagine? Could you imagine sitting there for 2 hours? And I guarantee he didn't actually explain what the business was or what the business model was or how to be successful. It was probably, and I could probably bet money that it was 99% this mindset BS that MLMs tend to push so that they can make you feel like you have a lot of work to do on yourself and they only have the answer.
Do a little pep talk, makes you feel on top of the world. After the pep talk, he then goes over a little board plan, is what they call it. You have your own store, but then if someone else wants to own their own store, cool, you get to teach your friend how to own his own store, so on and so forth. And then he draws out this little... Oh, but don't worry, it's not a pyramid scheme because you don't actually take away money from any of the people below you. The company that we work with pays you extra, but it doesn't take anything away from the people you're helping. I'm gonna do a whole separate video on the whole education process for Amway, so stay tuned. They take a step further as to tell you, don't look it up by the way, because if anyone online says anything negative about this company, it's only because there's some fat Joe Schmo who's 35 and still living in his mom's basement and doesn't work a day in his life and he's afraid of hard work. Then after all of that, they finally reveal the name of the company. By the way, it's Amway, this company that has a huge reputation for being sleazy. But, and then they go on and ramble some more about why it's not a pyramid scheme and about how they use it differently than the other people who use Amway. It's not Amway's fault, it's the people who don't use it for good things. But they are people who use it for good things, so you can trust them, but not other Amway people, only them. After all that, they're like, here's all the reasons you should do this opportunity, and then they go off about how great it is and how you can accomplish any of your wildest dreams. This is the door that makes all other things possible, and it's the only way. Then they flip the script and talk about how horrible it will be for you and what it will mean for your sad life if you don't do this opportunity. Oh yeah, you could go about your daily life and never accomplish your dreams. You don't have to do this and let your dad die at his job. He just basically guilt trip you, and they tell you that your life is going to be shitty and worthless and you're never going to accomplish a single thing and you're going to be a slave to your 9 to 5 for the rest of your life if you don't do this. So naturally, I was like, oh, of course I'm one of the cool people with the winner mentality. Of course I can do this for my family, because fun fact about me, ever since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to be a hero. So when they were like, dude, you have the potential to like bless everyone you know, I was like, this is my chance, my moment to be a hero. This is what's going to turn my whole life around. Since I've been in this rut, this is the answer. And they talk about how they're going to give you like personal coaching and mentorship to help you with all of your problems. I felt so special, like I made it into this really cool secret club. I was especially in like a horrible state of mind because I had just gone through a nasty breakup 2 days before this. I was just like, God, I'm ready for the next step in my life. I'm gonna become rich and have a better life, and I'm gonna make my ex wish that he was still with me. This was the answer to me. So naturally, I joined. They launched me into business. A couple days after I launched was what they call a major function. This was the family reunion function is what it was called, which was held in Las Vegas in a giant...
A family reunion function? A family reunion function? Is that what we're calling it? That's a cult, my guy. That is a freaking cult. And then my heart hurts so bad for her because she is definitely the majority. Majority? Oh, Sarah, please. Majority. She's definitely the majority. You can definitely see the red flags that are happening. She's vulnerable. She just went through a breakup. She's financially compromised. She's a college student. She's literally hitting all these pain points to make it so easy for these MLM uplines to get their claws into her. So they're offering her a community, they're offering her a financial outlet, they're offering her mindset courses, everything that they need in order to make you feel like you can't leave and you can't live without this. And then they're also guilt tripping you. If you walk away and don't take this opportunity, then you don't care about your family, you don't care about your father, you don't care about yourself. It puts you in a vulnerable position where saying no feels like it doesn't become an option. And that is such a scary place to be in, and so many people are having to deal with it every single day, whether it's on social media or in real life like this. I don't think that people outside of MLM who think that this is just an innocent business model and not hurting anybody realize this, and it's freaking scary.
All the MLMs have these, but they tell you ours is the only one. This lasts a whole weekend, so we're in this stadium all day from morning to night for 3 days. So the people who got in first, who were at the top of the pyramid scheme, tell their rags to riches stories, and they basically hype you up. This can solve all of your problems because A, B, and C. My life sucked before this, and then I did this. Now I'm a millionaire, and I'm wearing this really fancy ball gown, and I'm married to a hunk that I'm in love with, and we have 5 kids that we have this amazing relationship with, and it's all because of this opportunity. It's basically just a little convention of brainwashing for 3 days straight. So that's what I did. So the rules of a worldwide group, they call the rules core. You're supposed to read a self-help book for at least 15 minutes a day, but not just any self-help book. It has to be one from their specific list. And if you have a book that helps you, but it's not on their list, then you're not supposed to read that. You can, but only after you've read a book from their list. They weren't my type of self-help books. They were all very like grind for your future until you drop dead. You have to tell your coaches everything, and you have to send them at least one voicemail a day. You aren't allowed to make a financial decision without consulting your coach. If someone just told you all this, you'd be like, holy frick, that's insane. I would never do that. That's very culty. But if you're actually in the room with the people, these are like professionally trained salespeople who like are very good at manipulation and gaslighting and brainwashing. A lot of people tend to victim blame. The thing is, like, most of them actually think they're doing the right thing. People think that they're helping people. Most of them don't know that they're in something bad. They're all very brainwashed people. If someone told me all this before I joined, I would have been like, oh no, this is really weird and creepy, but that's not how I was introduced to it. They're very particular about how they introduce everything. They feed it to you little by little. Jonestown didn't just start with, hey, do you want to drink this poison Kool-Aid and die? Like, no one would have joined the cult. It starts out looking like something good. They advertise it as personal growth and development. Rule number 3 is you have to listen to an audio of speech from one of those big stadium functions I told you about. You're required to listen to at least one of them a day. They're just constantly feeding this to you. One of the other rules is share your story with at least one person a day. Try to recruit somebody. They would give you a little script that you had to memorize, copy the homework, but change it a little so they don't know you're part of a pyramid scheme. Those little voicemails I was telling you about, those are called Kates from the app called Communicate. They would basically just send little motivational things that you had to listen to every day. So you were like 24/7 consumed in all of this. Anyone else that they're helping who you meet at those board plan meetings, you're not allowed to talk to them outside of those board plan meetings. You're not allowed to be friends with them. When I was in this, it started out really innocent. Any type of cult does start out very innocent. It's not some weird nutcases that join these things. Anyone is susceptible to joining a cult. It doesn't look like people dressed in robes sacrificing goats around a bonfire. It looks like something totally normal and good. I had just moved in with 2 people.
She is so right. And like I just said, they offer this community, they offer these friendships and this financial stability and these mindset shifts that seem like it's going to improve your life, and it seems like you can't live without it. And then you start to think that you can't live without it, and it becomes so much like a cult that there's no difference between the two. And what she's describing is literally giving me chills, because I just finished watching that documentary of The Devil in the Family, the fall of, what was her name? Ruby Franke. Oh my God. If you guys have not watched it, definitely watch it. But trigger warning, there is child in it. So if that is something you don't want to watch or see or hear about, this is not going to be for you. Just read the summary. But this documentary was so freaking good. And as I was watching it, I was thinking, oh my God, this is so close to how MLMs rope people into them. It's not even funny. And because of the desperation from the MLM community, because of the uprising of the anti-MLM community, I feel like they are willing to go above and beyond to protect their people and to close off other individuals from penetrating this mindset of they have to be within the MLM. They need the people in the MLM. So I feel like the shields have gone up even more than they were before. The denial has gone up even more than it was before, because I feel like we're at this like social media warfare, anti-MLM against MLM, and it is coming to like this ginormous head at this point, because so many MLMs have fallen and we've had a platform to be able to speak against this, and people are starting to open their eyes. It's getting so much more ruthless, and they are getting so much more desperate.
Were my best friends at the time. They turned out to not be that. There was a lot of drama and a lot of craziness. At first, it started out as a really good thing that I was part of this, because I was getting advice about how to hopefully repair things with my roommates, and I was reading self-help books every single day. As things got progressively worse with my roommates at the time, I would just spend more and more time away from our apartment recruiting people. It boosted confidence because I felt like I was creating this amazing life for myself and my family. It was really innocent at first, and it actually was building my character and helping me grow up a little faster. The coach is the person who you send your Kates to, usually. You basically ask all your questions to them, and they do your meetings for you. That was how I met one of my best friends named Amber. She was my coach. Meeting Amber and Samantha were one of the few good things that came out of this experience. She became like my best friend. I was opening up to her about things that I couldn't open up to anyone else about. I was so lucky she was my coach, because no one would have listened to me with such an open mind and open heart and just not judged me for the shit that I opened up to her about. If my mentors, we're gonna call them J and K, if J and K had been my coach at the time, the type of advice that they would give versus Amber just were not the same at all. I wanted to be like J so badly. So J and K are a couple. K was the more like timid one who was just kind of submissive to J. He would just kind of agree with everything that J said. But J was more outspoken and confident and bold, and I saw that in me, and so I just wanted to, I wanted him to notice me. I want to be the little teacher's pet. Because we were taught, if we hang around our upline all the time and who we want to be like in our upline, we become like them, and the more likely you are to be successful like them. So we were basically taught to try to be exactly like them, and that's how I was with Jay. Jay was like my role model. I just had so much gratitude for what I thought was the best opportunity someone could ever give me. I remember telling Amber, her upline diamonds don't even know my name, but they will. And they did eventually. For what it was worth, I was really good at it. I was the hardest working out of everyone on Jay's team, and that felt good. I remember the first time I heard about someone quitting. We'll call him T. All the people who are in the board plan for the first time, they're the guests in the room. They all leave, and then there's always a separate training after that board plan meeting for just the people who are in business. We were at this training after the board plan meeting. After the guests had left, Jay was like, let's talk about the elephant in the room. T quit. Jay went on this tangent about how everyone he's ever seen leave worldwide has never seen their lives improve since. They always get divorced. They lose their relationship with their children if they have any. They're stuck at their 9 to 5 for the rest of their life. Years later, he'll run into them in public and be like, oh my gosh, hey, so-and-so, how have you been? And other person will always be like, man, it honestly sucks. It hasn't gotten better. I'm really miserable and I wish that I stayed. That's what Jay would claim. And I later figured out that Jay is a pathological liar. So at this meeting, he went on this tangent, the same one that he does every time someone in a high rank quits, and they always do when they're about to hit platinum. Platinum is like the first high rank when you start seeing what's actually going on higher up, like behind the scenes, that you don't hear about or see when you're at the bottom. So that's why people quit right before they're about to go platinum. Jay starts going on this rant about T quit. I know a lot of you looked up to him. I know he was coaching a lot of you, but that's okay. He might give up on you guys, but Kay and I are not going to. And we'll take you under our wing because you can trust us to not let you down. It's just gonna come back to him because we've never seen anyone who's left have their life get better. He just let down his family, but just because he did doesn't mean you have to, because you're in good hands now. And that's basically the speech he gives every time someone really influential on his team quits. That was the first time I remember hearing about anyone quitting, and I didn't even know that was possible. I was like, why the hell would anyone want to quit? That's like financial suicide. Why would you do that to yourself? This is the best thing that could ever be blessed upon somebody. Why would you give it up? I think I cried that night. I didn't even know T. He was on a different team because Jay had lots of teams and I was at a different team board plan, because at some point I was going to my team board plans and the other local team's board plan because I wanted extra association. So I was pretty brainwashed. You would get love bombed when you would go to those. Everyone would be like, oh my gosh, hi. Everyone hugged. Everyone said I love you, even if you didn't even know them that well. Like, it was very sweet and welcoming. And so they really sucked you in that way. And so I loved going to them. So I'd go to extra ones. And we weren't really allowed to talk to our family about our problems because that was what our coaches were for. They've only had 9 to 5 jobs their whole life. So how the hell are your parents going to teach you how to become a millionaire? So you weren't supposed to talk to your family about anything in your business or just the problems you had in your life. You just slowly got isolated.
Oh my God, this is so much worse than I thought it was going to be. At this point, she could make her own cult documentary. This is wild. And bro, it's different when this is happening on social media, but when you're hearing that people are going to these in real life and it's actually impacting them in a physical matter, like they're having to go to these meetings and physically be with these people, it adds this extra layer of horror, in my opinion. Because when you're working an MLM business on social media, you have this like veil, if you will, that's kind of protecting you. You're in your own home, you're in your own space, you're with your family, and they are penetrating that space by messages, by Facebook Lives, by being in the team page, by doing Zooms, but there's still that level of you having your control over your life a little bit. This completely feels like no one has control over their own life. Like, this team is running every single aspect of their life. They're telling them what to do, what to say, how to think, how to act, how to look, who to role model, and not to tell your friends and family what is going on, whether it's good or bad in your life. The isolation. Oh my God, this is wild.
Isolated from everyone else. You weren't allowed to talk to your cross line. You weren't allowed to talk to your family about anything or your friends, only your mentors. When Amber was coaching me, it was really helpful. Her and I had the same spiritual beliefs. Whenever she would coach me, she would give me really personalized advice. You could just tell that she cared about me. There was a lot of times she would get emotional in her Kates that she would send back to me. We really became best friends because of that. And then one day I got a text from Amber. It was like multiple messages. I was like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing. I can get back to it later. But then there was more and more and more. And then I like glanced at it and there was one that stuck out to me that said, I hope we can still be friends. And my mind went to, oh my God, I did something wrong. What did I do? I my friendship with Amber, and I started freaking out. And so I opened the text and there was just paragraphs. I read the first one and she said something along the lines of, I wanted you to hear this from me and not from J and K, but I'm quitting. My soul like left my body when I heard that, because Amber was like my hero, like one of my biggest role models. She was my best friend. With Amber's coaching and mentorship, it actually helped me fix my relationship with my mom. Amber was like my number one. She was the person I told everything to, all of my secrets, things that I didn't tell anyone else, not even my diary. I just had put so much trust in her. Seeing her leave shook me to my my core. It felt wrong. Did I ever know this person who have been telling all my secrets to and pouring my soul out? Like, is this someone I ever even knew? And just my mind started racing. I just was spiraling, and I just started like freaking out. I had like a full breakdown in front of this guy I was seeing. He was like, "I'm so sorry you lost your hero." It was a really rough night, and I ended up writing a song about it that night. It felt like just a horrible dream that wasn't real. I was like, there's no way this is real. I should have started questioning, well, Amber's such a good-hearted person. If she left, then there must be some reason why that I don't know. And I should have been curious and inquisitive about it, but instead it made me like distrust her and turn against her, and I really struggled with that, and a lot of us did. We all had grown very close to her, and so it was just a very big change to not have her there anymore. From there, someone else became my coach after Amber left. We'll call him A. He always kind of talked with like this like showman type of a voice, like, "Oh, that's great," you know, like he just had this like interesting persona about him. And then at some point Jay was like, "Me and Kay are gonna start coaching you guys now." This is a side tangent, but it was very like cisgender straight Christian viewpoint, and like they encouraged everyone to think that way. And Kay started coaching me because Kay was the girl. Her coaching style was really hard to adjust to because it was very different than Amber's coaching style. Amber was very empathetic and her responses were very personalized, but Kay was very robotic about it. There wasn't a lot of empathy, and if she gave me advice and it wasn't helping, it was because I was the problem. Ever since Kay started coaching me, it just got so much harder. Like, her advice didn't work. It was just like, do this, and I would do that, and I'm like, okay, that got me a horrible result. And she's like, well, then you're the problem. I was like fighting and fighting for Jay and Kay's attention, and I was getting it. Ever since Amber left, I was a new all-star student. I was so all in. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I had horrible nutrition, I wasn't even showering. I was coached by A to stop cleaning my room because I didn't have time if I wanted to go platinum. I was just giving up everything. It got to the point where I was miserable. Like, there were multiple times where I was just so because of how much stress I was under and how much pressure, and it gives you this god complex. They tell you you have all this knowledge that only you get and the rest of the world doesn't have, and so it's your responsibility to help share it with other people so you can help save their lives. You are the answer to their prayers. They basically just expected you to like save the world, especially if you're building as a single, because I was surrounded by all these people who were building as couples, and that was something I was really struggling with at the time because I felt very unlovable and like I was never gonna find my person. So lonely, and there was just all this weight on my shoulders, and I was like, all these other people have an advantage of doing this in a team. I'm supposed to save the world by myself. I was just working myself to the bone. My parents were worried about me. There was a point on this journey when I sat on the same place on the floor for 3 days and only would wake up to read for 15 minutes, listen to the shortest audio that we had on our audios app, send to Kate being like, "Hey, I'm alive," and then maybe like eat something. And I would call Samantha to share my story with her because I knew she would always answer and let me tell my story to her and bounce it off of her. And if she wasn't available, I'd bounce it off like my brother or something because I just couldn't be bothered to go out. And I was miserable, and the only thing that I could do to stay afloat was writing music. They were like, reach out to every single person you know, even if you don't know them, reach out to everyone that comes up on Facebook, send them this generic message that we designed for you, copy and paste it, watch, magic will happen. And wanna know what happened? I got posted about on people's Instagram stories being like, hey, watch out for this girl, she's reaching out to everyone, we think she might be in a pyramid scheme. I actually burned a lot of bridges. None of the people I knew in high school will talk to me now. They all have me blocked or restricted on Instagram. My number has been blocked by like pretty much everyone I knew. There's still rumors that go around about me on social media, and I got chewed out by a lot of people because of this. There were some people who sent me really mean, nasty paragraphs. Like, you might be like, oh, that's totally fair because you were in a pyramid scheme and you were doing sleazy shit, but we weren't.
I feel so bad for her. I really do. This is heartbreaking. And this is such a real and raw story. And I'm so happy someone sent this to me because this is so, so important to hear. It's so time consuming and mind consuming, and it eats away at every single aspect of who you are and your personality and your self-worth. And I'm going to echo what she said is, at some point when you are hustling and working and putting your blood, sweat, and tears into this next promotion or into your business, you come to this point where you feel like you are never going to be good enough and you never are going to be worthy of it or going to be this amazing leader and be on this huge team that looks up to you, and you start to think that because of the way you are thinking and because of the way you are choosing to conduct yourself, that you are just never going to be worthy of it, and your mindset isn't good enough, and there's something inside of you that is just not deserving of this promotion. And it really does damage on people, and it really does have severe long-term effects on people. And I'll be honest, I've spent a lot of hours in therapy working through this and a lot of time trying to deconstruct this thought thought process of guilt and unworthiness because of the rat race and mental toll that being in a multi-level marketing company like this does to you. Because unfortunately, I relate a lot to what she's saying, because regardless of whether my experience was on social media and hers was in person, almost everything she's saying is exactly the same way that I felt. And it is super, super scary to think that there's people out there dealing with this right now who have no freaking clue what this even is or what MLMs are, and they're being introduced to it as this community, and it's going to essentially destroy them, if not emotionally, but definitely financially.
That way, I was under the impression that I was helping people, saving people from dying at their jobs. I was taught that I was doing the right thing and that I was being a hero. I was just like, holy, what am I doing wrong? I'm doing everything that my upline is telling me to do, and obviously they know best because they have these huge businesses. I was so desperate to just talk to as many people in a day out in public too, that I started getting horrible responses with that too. I was used to getting horrible reactions from trying to make friends in public that I still have social anxiety to this day. But I was getting so much praise from Jay and Kay, especially Jay. He would always say things publicly in his board plans like, you guys should be more like Lavender. She inspires me even, and I'm the one who's the mentor. They're finally noticing me, and they were telling me that I was gonna go platinum by the end of the year. I kept opening up to Jay and Kay, and I was just like, I'm doing everything you ask, and I have the purest intentions about this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm getting the worst reactions. And they would just be like, well, then you're the problem. You are getting more coaching right now than any of the other people were coaching, and yet you're the only person not moving on. If you're not moving on in your business and you're struggling, it's because you need to get your shit together. You're probably double-minded. And I started getting all these opportunities come up with people asking me to open for them at their shows. I'm a singer-songwriter. That's why I joined this stupid thing in the first place. This dream that I've always wanted but didn't think I could do. Suddenly someone was telling me I could do it, and this was the way, and it just really shook me up. I was like, God, do I even want to be doing this anymore? I was looking ahead at Jay and Kay and where they were at. All they do is do meetings 24/7. And then when they're not doing that, they're answering Kate's. They're out talking to people in public. They're messaging people. And that's all they do. I'm miserable, and I have not even half the workload that they have. Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? I was just really at war with myself for the longest time, because for the longest time this seemed like the answer. I was told that if I ever left, my life would turn to shit, and I would never accomplish anything again, and I would throw my life away and let down my family, and it would all be for nothing, and I would be a waste of space for the rest of my life. My friend, who's now my roommate, ended up inviting me to one of his band's concerts. I didn't want to say yes, but it was one of my customers, and he was buying my Amway products. I want to support him back with his dreams. The excuse I made for myself to go will be an excuse to network. I can talk to everyone in the crowd and try to recruit them. I went to the show, and it was really good. When I was there, I noticed the drummer was really pretty, but I had sworn off dating. I had sworn off everything for Worldwide, so I never talked to the drummer. And then my friend invited me to another one of their concerts. I saw the drummer again, and I was like, this guy is so cute. And after the show, the drummer was kind of out in the crowd talking to some of the fans. This girl came up. I could tell that she had feelings, and I was like, okay, I know I wasn't supposed to pursue anybody until I go diamond, but it's a competition. I saw the first. I'm gonna go after him. I went up and I was like, hey, listen, are you single? Can I get your number? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so I got his number, and I was like, oh my God. This drummer and I started going on dates. We ended up going on this triple date where one of the girls' dates happened to be someone in my crossline from Worldwide group. I was talking to this guy. I was like, yeah, so I'm in this rough patch. There's Worldwide, there's my music, and I'm kind of at a crossroads. You don't see me in a couple weeks anymore. You know why. The drummer and I went to the car after the date, and he was like, so when are you gonna start pursuing your music then? And I was like I said, I'm still kind of at a crossroad. I haven't really decided what path I want to go down yet. He started kind of trash talking Amway and Worldwide. He basically was throwing facts in my face, and I freaked out at him because I did not want to hear it. And then we went home angry, and then I called him the next night, and I was like, hey, I'm sorry about last night. I shouldn't have yelled at you. I shouldn't have gotten defensive. I just am very protective of my mentors because they've done a lot for me. I don't remember how the conversation went here, but we were talking about like our values and our beliefs and things like that. And I was like, honestly, I feel like we have so many similar values and beliefs in common. Like I could see us working out long term. And he goes, about that. He was like, I could see us working out long term, except Amway things. So I think from here we should just be friends. I was depressed about that for a really long time, but I just told myself this is just a part of my journey. My struggles are going to be someone else's roadmap one day. This is all just going to be part of the story I'm telling on one of those stadium stages one day. I just wasn't happy anymore in Worldwide at all. I just was so scared to let go and throw it all away. I kept having these little breakthroughs where I would like almost quit, and I'd feel so free, and I'd feel like me again. I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, this huge breakthrough. And then I'd be like, sweet, I can take this breakthrough and apply it to my business now. I was just in war with myself for so long. I'm like, I don't want to stay, but I don't want to go. I looked ahead of where I was at where they were at. They didn't have the type of life I wanted. I want to have time to do all these things they told me about, like travel and spend time with my family, but they didn't have time for any of them themselves. It's just like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't trust myself. I don't trust anything because I was taught not to trust myself. They would always say, you need to borrow our brains until we can trust you to think for yourself. Your best thinking got you to a shitty 9-to-5 job, so you can't trust yourself to teach yourself how to become a millionaire. So culty, okay? So culty. Finally, I opened this video by Esotero. I'll link her channel below. She's great. It was one of her pick a pile readings, and yeah, I'm one of those witchy woo woo spiritual girls. I don't care. Light me up. I don't give a shit. Okay, the pile that I got, she basically was like, sounds like you're in this pursuit of some financial endeavor, or maybe it's a job or a business or something related to that. And it's great that you're improving yourself, but you are making this thing your whole life. And that's not good, and I'm worried about you, and it's not healthy to be as consumed in it as you are. It's time to let this thing go. And I was like, shit, dude, that's my sign. But at this point, Jay had asked me to give up my music. The way he described it was, just give it up now. You'll retire faster, and then once you're free from your job, you'll be able to do it all the time. I couldn't believe him because I'd been told that before by my ex, who wanted me to give up my faith for him. When I did, I never saw that part of me again. I still have not recovered from that, and I was 15. I couldn't risk it. I already lost my spirituality. I can't lose my music too. That's all I have, and that is a big part of who I am. And it was the only thing keeping me alive at this point. If it's this or my music, I have to choose me. I have to choose my music. I spent hours and hours and hours writing personalized letters for everyone that I knew personally in my cross line, who I was never allowed to talk to outside of business. Basically being like, hey, I love you. Just because I'm deciding to not do this doesn't mean you can't. And I'm proud of you, and I believe in you, and I know that you can build this business if you want to. It was more personalized, and I spent so much time and I poured my heart and soul into these letters. And some of them were for people on Jay's other team, and they have separate board plan meetings. But then luckily, the next board plan that was coming up was the last one of the year. It was on a full moon in Cancer, and it was a combined team board plan, so both teams were going to be there. And I was like, it's a full moon, both teams are going to be there, this is my chance, I have to. I wanted to call my upline first and tell them. So I called my upline diamonds. We'll call them M and KT. I called KT and I was like, hey, I'm leaving. It's not because I think Worldwide is bad, it's not because I hate anyone in it or anything about it. It's for personal reasons, and I hope you understand and just know that I love you and I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me, and I just wanted you to hear this from me and not from someone else. And I was really surprised by how unmoved and how unemotional and unreactive she was. She was like, so let me tell you why your thinking is off and how you should fix that. And I'm like, KT, I love you, but I'm not trying to debate this. I'm not asking for perspective or permission or anything. I'm just letting you know. She was like, okay, M wants to talk to you. I was like, oh my gosh, M, hey, you know me, we're cool. And I was expecting like, oh, we're so sad to see you go. We support your decision, but we'll miss you so much. Thanks for being here. That was not what I got. He said, it sounds like you're trying to chase your happiness. And I was like, yeah, exactly, you get it. And he was like, here's why that's wrong. If I chased my happiness, I would be divorced and my kids would hate me, my life would be in shambles. And I wish I would have said this. In my head, I was thinking like, what on earth do you think happiness means? Like, do you think that's like doing drugs or like cheating on your spouse? Are we talking about the same thing right now? And he just starts going off about how they are miserable, but it's for the greater good. He was like, you know, the people who make it aren't always happy, so that's a good thing. And he basically was preaching to me this crazy philosophy. So I was like, hey, let's wrap it up. I was like sobbing, by the way, and they were like emotionless. They were just like, okay. I was like, I love you guys. I just don't want you to tell this to J and K yet because I really want them to hear it from me. And I'm planning on telling them at the board plan tonight. Then all of a sudden M starts freaking out. He's like, no, you're not allowed to go to that board plan. Like, because other people there are trying to grow and you don't want to plant seeds of doubt in their mind. And I was like, whoa. I'm not going to publicly announce that I'm leaving. I'm going to pull J and K and A aside and then I'm going to leave. I just wanted him to shut the fuck up. I wasn't going to listen. So I was just like, oh, okay, that's great wisdom. I'll do that. Thanks, M. I was like, okay, just can you not tell J and K though? Because I would really like to tell them myself. And M was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. We can respect that. And I was like, okay, well, I love you guys. Thank you for everything. And KT goes, is that it? I'm like, yeah, that is it. And
they don't care about you because you are a literal number to them. You're not an actual person. They invest time and energy into you because you are creating them an income. MLMs are just a numbers game. The more people you recruit, the more people who purchase the products. Nice. The more people you recruit and the more people who purchase the products is how you get to the top of the compensation plan. So if somebody is doubting the systems and doubting the company, then you move on because it's just a numbers game. My old MLM upline who was in Melaleuca, she had this video where for like 45 minutes she was talking, but at the same time she was flipping cards in a deck. And she was saying that the business is a numbers game. You're going to keep enrolling customers and eventually you will find your ace and they will build a business with you. And so she was trying to explain to us that we just have to keep recruiting, selling. Eventually we're going to enroll a business partner who is willing to work as hard as us, and that will be our ace. And that was one of those moments when I watched that, I realized that this is not as personal as I thought it was. This is not as much of a tight-knit family as I thought it was. We were all literally just a number to her. And she was explaining that to us, making it seem like that's how we need to run our businesses. But what I was getting from it is we are all those cards in the deck and that not all of us are aces, and she does not care about us. She literally only cares about the numbers and how we are going to be able to sell and recruit enough to get her to the top.
She goes, okay, well, bye. And I'm like, love you. And she goes, love you, bye. And then 2 seconds later, I get a text from Jay that says, hey, on the phone with M and KT right now. Wish you the best. Good luck. The whole time that I was like going through this inner battle, I was talking to them about it and they were like, it sounds like you're only staying here for us and that's not a good enough reason. So do what makes your heart happy and we'll support you no matter what. But this was not lining up. Everyone was acting so weird. And I was like, you know what? them. I'm going to the board plan tonight, but I'm not gonna have time to pull my downline aside and tell them in person the way that I wanted to. So I called them all on the phone on the way there. So I was on the phone with Samantha on the way to the board plan, just telling her my plan, like freaking out. She's like, girl, I'm on standby. Call me if you need anything and I'm gonna be here. And I was like, okay, thank you. She's such a good friend. I walk into the board plan. I was handing out all the letters that I had written to everyone and I was just giving everyone the biggest hugs and the most genuine I love yous ever. And the only letter I have left to hand out is to this girl that I was so close with, as close as you can be with someone that you're not allowed to talk to outside of work. We'll call her Augie, and she was running late. And I was like, hey, I don't have much time. I need to go in and out because I'm not supposed to be here. I can talk to A in the meantime and pull him aside and tell him in person. I was like, hey, A, can I talk to you privately? And he was like, sure, what's going on? In his little showman voice, he pulls me into the other room, closes the door. He's like, hey, do I need to sit down for this? And I'm like, yeah, probably. I told him what I told M and KT. I'm leaving. It's not personal. I love everyone here. I love the organization, but my heart is just pulling me somewhere else and I just can't stay. He was like, just make sure to stay in touch, okay? Because I ask people to do that when they leave and for some reason they never do. And I was like, yeah, of course, why wouldn't I? And then all of a sudden my downline babies come in and they were all giving me hugs and they just looked so sad and bittersweet and some of them brought little gifts for me. And then all of a sudden A, on the corner of my eye, is typing away. I'm like, oh boy, he's texting Jay right now. A grabs my arm and goes, hey, let's go wait outside for Jay and Kate. And I was like, oh, I still have this to give to Augie. He's like, oh, you wrote letters to people? My heart sank a little bit and I was like, oh, I'm like, yeah, but it's nothing bad. A goes, I don't know if that's a great idea. I think you should let J and K handle that. And I was like, no, I don't think I will. J and K aren't my coaches anymore. I don't have to do what they say. A takes me outside to wait for J and K. Something weird is going on. Like, everyone knows something that I don't. Why are they acting so weird right now? So A is asking me all these weird questions like, oh, so what do you plan on doing now that you're not on the road to success anymore? It's like, I felt weird even telling him about my life and my plan, but I was just like, it's songwriting. And he's like, nice, starting from the bottom again. I love it. And there was just so much condescension, like, hidden beneath his tone. And all of a sudden, Augie's car pulls up. So I start going over to her car. A grabs my arm and goes, wait, she's listening to a Kate. You should wait until she's finished. And I go, okay, I will. And I like rip out of his grasp and I just run over to her car and I just stand outside of it until she's done listening to her Kate. She hops out of the car and I just like wipe the tears and I'm like, hey girl, I got you a Christmas card. She goes inside. I look over and A is typing away on his phone again. And then I get a call from Jay. So I pick it up. Hey Jay. He's like, hey, so I understand that M told you to not go to the board plan and I understand you're there anyway. Ugh, I'll be there in a second. He hangs up and I was like, love you too? What's going on? And so I just break down. I just start sobbing. And I walk back over to A. He's like, oh, they're there. And he starts like stroking my arm. And I was like, why do you do this to people? Someone leaves and you ostracize them. Suddenly you don't love them or support them anymore. And you're in that boardroom telling people that they're gonna have a miserable life and that we don't love them or trust them anymore and that they're out to get us. And he goes, oh, that's not true. And I'm like, why am I even telling you this? This is going in one ear and out the other. You're just trying to distract me right now until those guys get here. He's still like petting my arm and he's like, Lavender, Lavender, like saying my name like I'm a dog or something. That's not true at all. I'm your friend. If I wasn't listening, I wouldn't be here. You know, like in those shows that you watch as a kid where there's like the group of friends going on some type of Indiana Jones quest, and then once they get to the jewel, one of the people in the friend group suddenly are like, wahahaha, I was the supervillain the whole time. That's how it felt. It was like a villain revealing scene and I just felt so unsafe with him. He was just talking to me like I was a child or a pet. Then J and K pull up and I had one more letter to give to them. Jay comes marching out of the car, just pissed off. I'm like, Jay, I just wanted to tell you I love you and thank you for everything. He just stares at me like this. And he doesn't say a word. And I hand him the letter that I wrote for him and Kay. And then finally he goes, ugh, and rolls his eyes and puts some of the stuff down, grabs it, and marches inside. Doesn't say a single word to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, Kay, she's the person who's been my coach for the last few months. She knows me. So I run up to her and I'm like, Kay, hey, like, I just wanted to say I love you and thank you so much for everything. And she goes, yep, love you. And I looked into Jay's eyes. There was no emotion. Just stone cold ice. When I looked into Kay's eyes, there was a tiny, tiny, tiny glint of emotion. A tiny, tiny bit, but not enough. I take off for the car crying. A goes, oh, Lavender, where's my hug? And I'm like, are you serious right now? I'm like, you want a hug right now? So I go up to him and I go, and I just leave. And he goes, hey, call me, keep in touch, okay? No one ever does. And I'm like, I wonder why. I call Samantha. She's like, yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but I knew that was gonna happen. Same thing happened to Amber. It all hit me. The way that I treated Amber was so bad when she left. And I was just like, shit, I'm a hypocrite. Amber had blocked me a while ago. Jay had told me that she blocked me because she hated me and she was only in Amway for the money. Found out later he's a pathological liar and almost nothing that he ever said to us was ever true. But shortly after all of this went down, I hit up the drummer again. I was like, hey, so I quit. And luckily he was sweet enough to take me back and give me another chance. That drummer happens to be my boyfriend, Joey, who was in my Oregon video. So that turned out really good. And after a few months, Amber texted me on 111. We met up for coffee. She's sweet enough to sister have forgiven me for everything. I've gone to a couple of her sound baths, which she does on her YouTube channel also, so go subscribe to her channel because she's so great. Do I regret the whole experience? No, not at all, because there was a lot of good that came out of it. I mended my relationship with my mom and dad. I made 2 amazing friends, Amber and Samantha. I made a lot of other friends too that are still unfortunately victims of the MLM. I later found out what was said in that board plan after I left from a sister of someone who was there. Basically what happened in that board plan was Jay told everyone, I understand that Lavender wrote you guys some letters. And, you know, they could be really innocent, but I also understand that she wasn't supposed to be here tonight. She quit. Told her to not be here, but she came anyway, and I think she has bad intentions and she's trying to take you guys all out with her by planting seeds of doubt in your minds in those letters. There's a chance that it could be innocent, but I'm not going to risk it because my family's future is worth more than that. And he put his letter straight into a paper shredder and told everyone to do the same thing. That's what happened while I was gone. There's been people who left the MLM before I did who I've been able to reconnect with recently, and I'm actually going to interview some of them on my channel. Some pros and cons. Not everything was bad about it. I had some really good takeaways. I know how to have a good work ethic. I matured a lot. I mended my relationship with my mom and dad. My confidence was boosted at the time, and I learned a lot of lessons. I did improve myself a lot before it started turning toxic. A lot of the business principles that they taught and the success principles they taught were true. They just used them in a distorted way. I did get a lot of good things out of it, but do I recommend that you join? Hell no, I really don't. They are cults. There was a lot of things that got worse because I was in it. There's both sides of the coin. I struggle to talk to people now. I struggle to make friends. I just barely got out of a rut that I was in for the last like 6 months because I just was under the impression that I couldn't get anywhere in life without a mentor. You know, my life would never be good or successful because I left, because that's what I was told. I have really bad social anxiety. I don't trust anyone, especially business people. I did learn a lot of good sales knowledge from them, and I'm really sales, but I hate doing it because it burns you out so bad. I do know about cults now. I know how to avoid them in the future. But I also lost a lot of friends, and I am scared to make new ones because of how people used to react when I would speak to them, because I only would talk to them about my business and I would get horrible results. Everyone I knew in high school, all of them have me blocked, and there are constantly rumors circulating around the internet about me because I was in a pyramid scheme, and so I lost a lot of friends and burned a lot of bridges. There's a couple people who hold it against me, like example, my roommate or my friend Mark the Shark, who's watching this video right now. Hi Mark. I'm very shy now, very introverted, and I'm honestly afraid of my own success now because of this toxic, horrible, distorted idea of success that was planted in my mind. I'm just scared to go through that again. I get so nervous when I ask people to subscribe to my channel. I'm like, would you subscribe to my channel? Like, I'm just so like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong when I ask, because in the past when I asked people to support me, I got like horrible backlash, and I'm scared of the work that it's going to take for me to get to where I want to be with my music. This idea of what success is to me is so distorted, and I'm still trying to heal that. There's so many layers that I still haven't unpacked, and it's been a long time since I've quit. Just some key phrases to watch out for if someone is a part of any of these things. If someone talks to you about a great business opportunity, or a couple who retired young or retired in their 20s, a successful couple they met, a couple who's helping them with their finances, if anyone asks you if you want to be free from your job, or if you ever want to experiment with your future plans, if you don't want to work for the rest of your life, if anyone talks to you about their mentors, especially if they ask you if you'd like to meet their mentors, they're gonna make it sound like it's some exclusive club that's really hard to get into. It's not. If anyone approaches you on the street and they're like either dressed in a suit or nice clothes, or they're like overly enthusiastic and they just strike up a conversation out of nowhere, just run. If they ask you to read a book and they're taking you through this weird interviewing process, don't do it. Stop. It's a pyramid scheme. Just run away. It's just gonna cause you more harm than good in the long run. I'm lucky that I even still have a few relationships in my life, and like, it's so hard for me to make friends you don't even understand, and it's hard for me to socialize with the ones I already have. Like, you just destroy yourself, your soul, you destroy your relationships, you destroy your life ultimately, depending on how far you go. Like, it's not worth it. If you know someone who's in it, you can try to convince them to leave, but you have to understand they're brainwashed and they're not gonna listen to you because they're taught not to listen to you. The only way people leave most of the time is by learning the hard way, and sometimes that takes a really long time, and it has to get so bad before they finally leave. Like, whether it's this cult or a different cult, I'm gonna link the bite model. When I left, I started researching cults a lot. When I left, I started, Googling everything that they told us not to Google when we first joined. It absolutely is a cult. One of my friends who quit before I did, he was in my downline, actually sent me the bite model, which is how you can tell if something is a cult or not. But I'm just gonna go over some of the things that are red flags about Worldwide Group and companies associated with Amway. Dress code. They don't want you to dye your hair or have a lot of piercings. They want you to just look like a basic cookie cutter white person, because they want you to be able to relate to as many people as possible so you can recruit as many people as possible. But even just about in your daily life, like, they tell you not to express yourself. Controlled information. You're not supposed to talk to your crossline. You're only supposed to read books that they approve of. They tell you to not listen to music. They tell you to only listen to audios. And you're not supposed to watch movies. I wasn't watching movies the entire time that I was in Worldwide. I gave it up. I gave up movies and TV. Isolation. You weren't allowed to talk to your crossline. You weren't allowed to talk to your parents about your business or about your problems. You weren't allowed to talk to a therapist. You weren't allowed to talk to your friends about about your problems? Only your upline. Controlling what you eat and drink, you were only allowed to eat and drink stuff from your business. Unless it was something you couldn't get at your business that was essential, you basically could only use products from your business. Cults also keep you very immersed. Like, they keep you very busy all the time so that you don't have time to think.
Oh my God. Winston. I know. This is wild. This is wild. I know how extreme MLMs can be and how extreme high-ranking teams can be because I've been on them, but holy crapoly, this is insane. I cannot believe this.
We were constantly doing meetings, trying to be out recruiting people, reading, listening to our audios, board plans. The higher you go up in rank too, the more busy you are because you don't have time to think for yourself. It would just tell you to like give up your hobbies slowly and like give up things that made you happy and made you you, because that was too much creative energy that you were giving to something besides your business. You were basically only allowed to eat, sleep, think, and breathe your business. At some point, Kay told me to stop showering because I was like, girl, I don't have time to shower with how much work you're expecting me to do. And she was like, oh, that's okay. When I was building my foundation, I wasn't showering. Just use one of our little Clorox wipes from our website and just wipe yourself down every day. I know it seems just like a silly little pyramid scheme, but it ruled your life. I didn't even get to the level of platinum and above, so who knows what kind of was going on with the higher ups. I'll post all of these resources below, by the way. Those were only a couple of things that they were controlling about. Like, there was so much more. Controlling your money. You weren't allowed to make purchases without consulting your mentors. You had to spend any extra money you had at the end of the month on products from your website. Every time you went to one of those big functions in Vegas, that was like $200. The Communicate app where you could send messages, that was like $50 a month. The app with all the audios on it was $50 a month. You couldn't buy your self-help books from bookstores or get them at the library. You had to get them from the specific worldwide group store. You only make money back on that if you're a diamond. Amway is a platform that you use for your pyramid scheme, which is worldwide. Worldwide Group is a pyramid scheme. They say Amway's not, which is true. It's a platform, like they say, but Worldwide Group is a pyramid scheme. Who gets all the money from the audios and the books and the seminars and all the things that their downline pays for? The people at the top, the diamonds. That's where the pyramid is. It's in Worldwide Group. That is the problem. Amway is a platform. It's an online store. It's overpriced. The products are and it's often used for really shady stuff, but Worldwide Group is the problem. That's the cult. So that is the pyramid scheme. And everyone hides behind the name Amway, but it's actually their sister companies that are making all the problems. Be careful out there. The moral of the story is do your due diligence, do your research, and if someone tells you to not Google something, Google it. If you're not allowed to Google the thing that you're a part of, that's a big red flag. And I know that all of this sounds obvious, but again, these people who are doing this are so well trained to brainwash and manipulate. Anybody is susceptible to it. MLMs and pyramid schemes literally can't work. The math just doesn't work. Not everybody can go diamond.
This video was so valuable and so informative. I am so thankful to my subscriber who sent it to me. Definitely opened my eyes to a couple of things that maybe I've forgotten or my brain has just shut out, but she is so correct on the fact that these higher ranking teams tend to function like a pyramid scheme within the MLM, because as she was explaining this, I'm getting like Vietnam flashbacks of our uplines like offering these training plans for a certain amount of money, offering these trips if you pay or if you hit these certain ranks then you can go, and it really does become its own pyramid scheme within the MLM or umbrellaed under the MLM. Awesome information. Hope that a lot of you get something good out of this. I'm going to link her YouTube channel below. She has put a couple of other videos on there. She did interview one or two other people from her downline or from her team that she was on, and her videos are super informative, super vulnerable, and I feel like it gives this other facet of the multi-level marketing company where I spend a lot of my time kind of calling out the uplines, calling out people who are doing shady business practices, and this is the flip side of it where it's more of seeing what happens to the victims, seeing how they are preyed upon, and seeing how it affects people long term. So I hope you guys love this video. I appreciate you guys sitting through it and watching the entire thing. Like I said, I will link her YouTube channel below. Go and follow her. Go support her content. She is doing amazing things over there. I hope that you guys have an awesome week. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Put the notifications on if you want to get notified of when videos get uploaded. I try to upload every single week to stay consistent for you guys. As always, if you see MLM content out in the wild, detailed and you want me to give commentary on it, you can send it to my email linked down below. And if you have your own MLM story like this one, you can also send it to my email down below. I am actually filming a MLM story video right after this, so that's probably going to be uploading sometime soon. Thank you guys for the growth of this channel. If you're not following me on my other socials, you can definitely do so. I post a lot of content on Instagram and Facebook. And as always, you are worth more than the kickback your upline is going to get for recruiting you. Thanks, guys.